I took these pictures as I was walking to the grocery store. The image becomes powerful when, these images of Friendship Park look innocuous. It's only when I tell you that 10 minutes later this place was filled with people that they become important, or the date. Or the fact that there were actually 5 cop cars sort of bearing down at me at a great speed as I crossed the street here. I take pictures with my cell phone and use an application in it to add filters to it. My approach to photography is that we are constructing an image. And I think this software and the way it works is a reminder of the constructed image. There's the image, and then there's the ground that we place it on, the context that it has. When I show these images to someone who lives in Pittsburgh, it means one thing. When I show them to somebody who lives outside of Pittsburgh, it means something else. It becomes the starting point for a personal conversation about what? If you're in Pittsburgh, the physics of getting around, the frustration that this party was invited into our house without us being asked, with the assumption that we wanted to have it, the difficulty of getting around, all these strangers coming here and, shaking things up or whatever. And when it's outside of Pittsburgh, it becomes more abstracted and more about police brutality or violence. It's like Twitter. There are all of these very discrete personalities, discrete perspectives. Each person can have their discrete perspective, and it's the aggregation of all of these points of view that brings us to a closer sense of truth. My mind presents an image of a bumblebee site, or an ant colony's site of some event unfolding inside of it, and Twitter working like that, and individual blogs working like that. I found this particularly ironic. 20 minutes after I left that place at the intersection of Baum and Liberty, apparently they were using rubber bullets and tear gas on a crowd outside of Ritter's. The giant flag there. I have always felt a responsibility to communicate my experience to others. The news media, they're writing for a particular audience of readers. They have their advertisers to answer to. They have a particular story they are politically lined up with that they want to present. And it's not necessarily the real story. It's just a presentation of information without a vested interest on it. It's just, this is what I saw, this is what I was doing, and a consciousness for me that I was shaping what other people would experience of this through the information that I gave. And every time I've done this, like after September 11th, I would send stories back to the Midwest about how life had changed so much for us. And what it meant to be explaining to all of your 19 and 20-year-old students why terrorists hate the U.S. so much that they would blow up these buildings as they're coming back from going home every weekend and helping their parents clean. We're all a part of history all the time. I wish that we all paid this close attention to our everyday lives and celebrated it or argued with it as much as we did during the G20. My presentation is simply what came out of the camera. I realized at this point that I was taking pictures of things to defend myself against what was happening. The cops here using Walnut Street as a staging area. The cops here being almost bullying in the way that I experienced them. Their authority really not questioned most of the time. At the same time, since I was walking around taking their picture with a telephone, I wasn't really bothered. But there was a lot of open hostility